Thanks for joining me today on the aerial tour of the National Mall in DC. We're just taking off from Reagan National Airport, fly over the Potomac, up the Potomac to the mall to start our tour. And today we're in the Dreamfoil R22 in X-Plane 11 with the WashingtonXP scenery package loaded. We'll be flying about 250 feet up. The helicopter routes in this area allow a maximum altitude of 300 feet, so we'll have to stay below that. And we'll fly up the river to the mall, east past the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, out to the Capitol, fly around the Capitol, and then back up Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House, back to the Lincoln Memorial to get a good look at the statue inside, and then over the tidal basin to the Jefferson Memorial. There's the Pentagon and Arlington National Cemetery over there to the left. Another view of it. And there's the mall in downtown DC, looking over the tidal basin. If you look out ahead up there on the horizon, you'll see the National Cathedral. And this side of it, the low flat square building, is the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, and you can see the Watergate complex beyond that distance. So we're turning to fly over the mall. This is the Arlington Memorial Bridge formed by now. There's the Lincoln Memorial ahead of us. We'll get a good view of that as we come back over the reflecting pool, but now we're going to fly east along the reflecting pool toward the Washington Monument. The pool is only about 2 feet deep. You can see the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in the wall there on the left. And up ahead you see the World War II Memorial. That opened in 2004, separated into the Atlantic and Pacific Theater. And you can see Kilroy there in 2 places, that memorial. Up ahead's the Washington Monument. It's 555 feet tall and was the tallest building in the world when it opened in 1888. It took 30 years to build, and no building in DC can be built taller than that. To the left of that you see the National Museum of African American History and Culture. It's a glass structure that opened in 2016. Down the mall on the right, you'll see the Smithsonian Institution building with the castle. The castle is the administrative offices and information center. It opened in 1855 and is constructed of red sandstone from Seneca Creek, Maryland, just northwest of DC. The Natural History Museum is opposite across the mall. That's one of the 19 Smithsonian museums. Beyond the castle on the right, you'll see the circular building. That's the Hirshhorn Museum, opened in 1975 and displays modern and contemporary art. And then beyond that is the National Air and Space Museum. Across the mall is the National Gallery of Art, the 2 buildings. The first building was opened in 1941, and the second building opened in 1978 and has the modern and contemporary art on display. There's the Museum of American Indian, opened in 1989. There's the Botanical Gardens. There's the Capitol building, Capitol Hill. It's actually built on a hill. There's a 19-foot tall Statue of Freedom on top of the dome that faces east, which is the main entrance of the building. The building was constructed starting in 1793. George Washington laid the cornerstone. Congress met in the building for the first time in 1800, and the British burned the building in the War of 1812. It was rebuilt and reoccupied in 1819. There's another view of the Botanical Gardens. And now we're going to fly up Pennsylvania Avenue to the northwest. There's the District U.S. District Court building out there, straight ahead. Across from it, on the left now, is the backside of the National Galleries of Art. The triangle building you see up on the left is the Federal Trade Commission. The next building on the left is the National Archives, and the big building beyond that, the courtyards in it, is the Department of Justice. And beyond that is the old post office. That was completed in 1899 and served as a post office until the 1930s. Recently was renovated and in 2016 opened as the Trump International Hotel. And you can still tour the bell tower, which is run by the National Park Service. And up ahead is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the White House. It was built from 1792 to 1800. It was also destroyed by fire by the British in the War of 1812. It was rebuilt and reoccupied in 1817. And you can see Marine One parked there in the south lawn of the White House. And we're flying over the ellipse now back toward the Washington Monument. That was damaged in the 2011 earthquake. It was repaired and reopened in 2014. Now we're going to turn and fly west along the reflecting pool toward the Lincoln Memorial. You'll be able to see his 19-foot tall statue in the center. The building opened in 1922. Interesting enough, there's a typo in the inscription on the north wall of the memorial. There you can get a pretty good view of the statue of Lincoln Memorial. Now we're going to turn and fly south over the tidal basin to the Jefferson Memorial. The tidal basin is surrounded by the cherry trees that blossom in the spring that are so pretty. The basin's about 10 feet deep. It was originally constructed to control flooding of the Potomac in the D.C. area. Now the water is used to keep the proper level in the Lincoln reflecting pool. So there's the Jefferson Memorial up ahead there on the right. It was built on a landfill in 1943. There's a 19-foot tall statue of Jefferson in the center of the monument. As we fly by the front of it, you'll get a very brief glimpse of the statue. There's the base of it there. And that completes our tour today as we head back toward Reagan National Airport. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I hope to see you on my next tour.